Burnley were taken over in December 2020 by ALK Capital. A number of commentators, including myself, warned that this was a very dangerous way to buy a football club. If you had a proper, strong football regulator with some teeth, I'm not sure that this deal would have gone through, nor would have the deal to buy Manchester United, because what the new owners of Burnley have done is they've taken out debt against the club and then are now using the cash flow from the club to pay that debt. And now it looks like Burnley will need to pay back a significant portion of their £65 million loan at the end of the season if they actually are relegated. And it was obviously taken out in December 2020 by ALK Capital. And this information is contained in the latest financial accounts. And this obviously means that should Burnley get relegated, then they may be in really big financial trouble. And the other issue they have is that when you go into the championship, in a way, the monitoring of your financial health is actually a lot more strict. And it looks like the chairman, Alan Pace, who has led the ALK takeover, was behind the decision to sack Sean Dyche. Obviously, they picked up 10 points in 12 games, so he's a little bit vindicated. They're 16th in the league and they're 2 points clear of Everton. But the financial state of Burnley is not looking good, in my opinion. And Manchester United had the commercial revenues to just survive. But this type of leverage takeover, which is common in the United States and also here, isn't good for the football club. So in the latest accounts, it's confirmed that there's 102 million worth of debt and has been taken on through its holding company, 65 million to Burnley FC Holdings and 37 million to Burnley Football and Athletic Club. On the 65 million pound loan specifically, it is outlined in the accounts that it attracts an 8% annual interest rate. So 8%, crazy. Only interest payments are made till December 2025 when the entire sum will be due to be repaid. Right? So let's stop for a minute. And they're paying out £5 million a year just for the pleasure of having this debt. A debt which hasn't got Burnley Football Club a new stadium, better players, new infrastructure. They've bought the club and they've put the debt onto the club, and the club are now paying the debt, which is just insane, really. The crux of the matter are that relegation brings that repayment date forward significantly, with a further significant reduction of the loan balance during what is described as a continuing relegation scenario, i.e. if the club don't return to the top flight. So the balance can potentially be settled by various means, and the group's reserves are sufficient to enable significant proportions to be settled by way of dividends if required. So what that means is that debt becomes due. Now the club's reserves are down to 50 million. They were 80 million in the last financial, and they're down. Also, the turnover's down from 134 million to 115. With they blame COVID. Obviously, everyone's blaming COVID, and they probably will do for a while. And so at this point, it looks like the 65 million becomes due, and then you're going to have to pay the money or be in trouble. And that means that Burnley's ability to take the parachute payments, maybe keep hold of some of these Premier League players and bounce back, will be severely restricted. And then you are in the Championship. And once you're in the Championship with that wage bill and a fall in revenue due to Premier League money, then you've got problems. So this could spiral out of control. Burnley really need to stay in the division and really need to get rid of this debt. But Manchester United, the Glazers have been there 16, 17 years, and the club, still owe this 500, 600 million pounds. So these type of owners probably are more inclined to take their dividends out of the club than to pay down the debt. So at this moment, Burnley have obviously picked up 10 points, as I say, out of a possible 12. But if they were to be relegated, I don't think they have many saleable assets. They've got Tartakovsky's contracts come to an end. I think maybe you can sell Dwight Gale. Maybe you can sell the goalkeeper as a great goalkeeper. So you might be able to sell players to pay the debt, but you're completely going to weaken yourself whilst you're in the Championship. And bear in mind, Championship's not an easy league to get out of. It really isn't an easy league. And if you're having to meet a £65 million loan, then you're in big trouble. I'm going to follow this story because football finances interest me, and I really don't think that if you don't have the, I think if you don't have the money to buy something, you shouldn't be able to buy it. I know you can say, well, you buy a house with a mortgage, but I think this is a different thing. I think a football club needs to be looked at the same way maybe a listed building or a sort of something, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, whatever. It's got to be looked at in that regards and not looked at just purely a business because like what Sean Dyche did was like unbelievable, really unbelievable. And it's not going to be easy to do that again with the finances. Did it on a shoestring. And I think that the people of Burnley obviously love their club, and it's a pretty small town to have Premier League football. So what they've done is unbelievable. So let's follow the story. I think also Everton may be in the same boat with like the amount of money they've spent and their wage bill, but Burnley aren't as cash rich and haven't got a rich owner. Basically, this is like a mini Glazier takeover of Burnley in the hope that you can get through and service this 8% debt and then pay it off at some point. So let's watch this space. It's going to be interesting.